Well, hello. It's Life Coach Harmony from the Harmony Inspiration, and I am so excited to be here today. Just so you know, the Harmony Inspiration offers life coaching that changes lives quickly. So, for today's session, we are going to be talking about who you are. Now, I know it might sound a little off, a little crazy, like, what do you mean, who am I? Well, a lot of us know who we are on the surface, but very few understand who we are to the core. And it's a perfectly great explanation for that. So, the reason why I like to dive in, especially with a lot of my clients, as to who they are, is because once you know who you are, you can navigate your life in a way that makes sense. And things that we struggle to do won't be as hard. Why? Because once you know who you know the doors and paths that aligns for you. So let's take a step back. When we're born, we're given a name. Whether that's Sue, Mary, Harmony, whatever, we're given a name. No control of ours, right? As a baby, a lot of us were taught to say first words. Say mama, say dada. Those were things that we were taught. Then we also heard things along the way as we got older. No. A lot of us heard no as little babies because we were always doing something that probably was going to warrant a no. So we were taught no. We were taught good. We were taught bad. We were taught. So then fast forward and now we're in what? School. We're a child, we're in school, and we're learning. So now we're hearing information from our teachers, telling us and explaining to us processes, ways to do this and ways to do that. Okay. Then we get a little bit older and now we have friends, and we may be a young child, we may be a teenager at this point. And now we are influenced by our friends. So now not only do we have our parents and our family members and our teachers, but now we have friends. So now they come into the mix. And so we're still doing our thing. We're growing and we're learning. Now we become adults and we absorbed all that information over the years. And when you are a child, you're absorbing so much that over time, it becomes part of your belief system. A little bit of mom, a little bit of dad, a little bit of grandma, a little bit of school, a little bit of friends, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and whatever else goes on in the world, right? Then we become older. We become adults. We're in college. We're having fun. We're partying, more influences, whether it's more friends, more money, part-time jobs, whatever it is. We're learning, we're growing, we're constructing our lives, and we're moving, and we're constantly moving. Then it gets to a point where we look up and maybe the parties stop. Maybe the family dynamic is a little different. Maybe we have families of our own. And through that whole process, have we ever once stopped and said, who am I? Who are you? You're not just the son. You're not just the daughter. You're not just the student. You're not just the friend. It's so much more deeper than that. And until you can understand who you are without the influences of others along the way, that's when you're able to control your life. Now, let me make it all make sense. So as I started out, I started to tell you this whole journey of how we're influenced. We're given a name, we're told no, we're told yes, we're told. All those things, not necessarily a terrible thing. However, the influence has been that of others and not necessarily that of ourselves. So when I ask you and I say, who are you? Which I often do with a lot of my clients, I'll say, who are you? And they'll say, oh, I'm a mother, or, oh, I'm a good daughter, or I'm a great girlfriend. And I say, okay, but if you wasn't with the boyfriend, would you still be a great girlfriend? Oh, no. I mean, I would have a boyfriend. I said, okay, so back to my question. Who are you? Or you may have the person that's a mother. And I say, okay, and not to take anything away from mothers or fathers, but when you're a parent, I know it's important and you hold it with high regard, but that's a title, right? That's a title. Of course, you're a parent. You're going to always be a parent. But again, who are you? You're only a parent because you have a child. But if that child didn't exist, again, who are you? And you have to break it down in that dynamic, because once you strip away the title, because your title only exists based off another person. So if who you are is defined by another person, then you're not really getting to the core of who you are. Are you a lover? Are you compassionate? Are you lighthearted? Are you lazy? These are the things that I'm talking about. Who you are as a person, not as a wife, not as a mother, not as a friend. Inside, who are you? So someone may say to me, oh, Harmony, who are you? And I would say, I'm an inspirer, because I inspire. That's what I do. That's who I am. That's who a part of me that makes me who I am. That's what I give. That's what's inside of me. So that's my thing. What's your thing? Are you negative? Are you positive? Are you the type of person that just wants love? Like, well, who are you? And see, once I realized for myself that I was a giver, I was an inspirer, I realized I took on these different roles, sure, as a girlfriend, as a wife, as a friend, and all these things. But deep down to the core, you know who you are. You just may not be able to answer it because, again, you were influenced by so many different things. So let's take all that out the equation. Now here we are. I'm an inspirer. I can inspire myself. I can inspire others. I can do that whether people are around or not. I can do that whether I am a wife, whether I am a mother or not, because that's who I am. I'm a person of service. Now that I know that I'm a person of service, I can live a life that's fulfilling. Why? It's fulfilling because I know who I am. I know that in order for me to be fulfilled, I need to go in a direction that offers service. Why would I go into a situation that's not meant for who I am? And I hope it's all coming together now. It may have taken me a while to get there, but a lot of you have jobs that you don't like because it doesn't align with who you are. And every time you are aligned with something that's not for you, you're not really in true alignment. You're just there. So it's going to be uncomfortable. It's not going to feel good. And you'll find yourself just constantly going back the same attitude, because things that's not for you bring out the same emotions, the same attitude. And you'll just be living on what's called autopilot, meaning you're just going just to be going. No real purpose. You're not going to be fulfilled because you're doing something that's not you. And how can you possibly find that job, find that man, find that woman? When I say find, I don't mean you're out really looking for them, but align is a better word. Align with that job, align with that person, align with things that's for you when you don't know. You don't know who you are. You're just doing what other people told you because somebody told you that, at 18 years old, you had to go get a job because someone told you when you wanted to get into your adult life that you had to be a doctor or a lawyer. Somebody said that. Somebody set a lot of us up. And I know people don't mean any harm, but a lot of our upbringing and a lot of our viewpoints from my family members have trickled down and become part of our own thinking. And I'm not saying it's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying that if you find yourself unfulfilled, if you find yourself unhappy, maybe it's time to take a step back and look and say, hey, who am I? Who am I? Say your name. I am Harmony. What has Harmony done? I am Michael. What has Michael done? What's attached to Michael? And when I say Michael, of course, I'm talking about whoever that Michael is. So when I say I am Harmony, what has Harmony done? Think about what Harmony's done over the years. Harmony has had several jobs. Harmony has been in a position where she's forever trying to fix something. Harmony is always working. So with what I just said, I can say that I am a hard worker. I shouldn't be working that hard. I used to be a hard worker. I can say that I am an inspirer. I can say that I appreciate opportunities. I can say I am starting to live a rewarding life. I can say a lot of things that's attached to Harmony. I can also say things that may not be so positive. I don't always have a lot of patience. And part of finding out who you are is also being honest with yourself. My patience sometimes, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. But I know that about myself. So because I know that about myself, I set up and I structure things accordingly. If I know that it's going to be a long wait, I prepare. So now in my life, I've taken the initiative to prepare because why wait? Why wait? Why wait on something? I don't have the patience. So if I can prep and get everything done as much as possible, so when I get there or when I come to that point, there's not going to be a lot of waiting and I can keep moving forward. That's my approach. That's my thing. And of course, there's things I need to work on. But again, when you know who you are, you know what you need to work on. You know things that you should probably shift to become better. I would never, ever come here and tell anybody that, hey, I'm perfect and you do it this way and it's got to be that. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to inspire others with change that allow them to change their lives quickly. You shouldn't have to wait 3 years to get to where you want to be. And I sincerely mean that from the bottom of my heart. I mean, of course, we're always growing. But if you find yourself waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, it shouldn't take so long. Why? Why? You can start today. Start today. Stop waiting. Don't wait. Identify who you are so you can start opening the doors for you because it doesn't take a long time. That's the beauty of being aligned with who you are truly meant to be. Things do not take long. Once you get on that trail, oh man, things move. But you got to be willing. As we had talked about in another session, you got to be willing to remove those blockages. And then you also have to be willing to find out who you are so that when you make moves, you're making moves that's aligned with who you are, not what mom told you to be, not what somebody else told you it should be or how it's not going to work. Their path is their path. Your path is your path. Understand what that means and understand how powerful that is. That means nobody, not even me, will ever share that with you. So how can that person tell you what you can and cannot have? How can that person shape your life and be so much of a factor when they're not you? It's goodness and it's great things and your desires can be met, but you have to identify who you are. If you know deep down inside you're a lazy person, don't go get a job where it's going to require you to work hard. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Be who you are. Be. We are human beings, not human doings. Be. Just be. And you'll know who you truly are because it'll always make you happy. You won't have to question it. It comes to you so easy. A lot of times people say, oh, this person's gifted. Oh, they're super talented. Oh, they have a natural gift. We all have a natural gift. They're not doing anything different. The difference is they're not doing anything different, but they are. But the main difference is that they are tapping and they are living on purpose because they know who they are. They knew maybe from the age of 5 that they wanted to be a football player. You probably knew from the age of 5 that you wanted to be, I don't know, a dancer. The difference is that they pursued it. The difference is that they lived it, they breathed it. Because that's their thing, that's their purpose. And when something's your purpose, you don't have to work as hard. So it's not that they're so gifted. They aligned with who they were and who they are. So once you align, those doors open for you and it comes natural. It's so natural. But again, we're removed from that because we're influenced by our friends and families at an early age, our religion, our this, our that, and blah, 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 blah. Tap into you. Find out what makes you happy. And if you have any doubts on how to do that, I love a list. I like a list because it comes from you. I like a list because you're able to look back at it. And I like it because you're able to change it because in life we change things. So what feels good today may not necessarily feel good tomorrow. So look at your list. Get your list, write it down, and ask yourself, who am I? And write those things down. And then look at your life and say, if I'm a person of service, is my lifestyle reflecting that? Or you say, I'm really, really, really a not so nice person. I'm not going to tell you to change that because that's who you are. But if you find yourself knowing that you're not so nice and you're constantly around people that expect you to be nice, then maybe you are out of alignment with who you are. See, that's the difference in how I approach things, and a lot of people may not agree with it. I'm not telling anyone to go around and to be mean and evil to people. What I'm saying is, once you know who you are, you can decide whether or not you want to stay that person or not. But inevitably, we always come back to who we are. But knowing it and identifying, hey, I'm really like this. Like me, I'm really a quiet person. I don't like talking. It sounds crazy. I don't like talking a lot. I don't like talking so much. But because I'm passionate about what I do, this is natural for me. This is when I like to speak. Around me, you'll never see me just chit-chatting and just talking and just to be talking. Because I like to speak on purpose. So, again, I hope you found value in what I said today. I know it's a lot, and I'm hoping I'm able to connect the dots and just bring, even if it's just a little bit of insight for you to start to think about who you really are so that you can move forward with your life and start living the best and highest version of yourself. Again, I am Life Coach Harmony from the Harmony Inspiration. If you have any questions or you want to learn more, visit www.theharmonyinspiration.com. Thank you so much. And until our next session, have a great day.